All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We've had some internet issues today, so I'm hoping that this works. Um, but yeah, hoping that this works. I'll turn on my screen in a minute and we'll get on with it. But first, got to do the normal tweeting and whatnot. But I hope you're having a good evening so far. We're going to talk about Michigan. And yeah, just give me a second to finish up. Hello, David. And almost done. Almost. Emphasis on almost. One more second. I have a plan B in place just in case everything crashes out, the internet and whatnot. So hopefully it doesn't. Let's hope that the internet does not crash out as it has been doing all day long, which has been driving me insane. Yes, it has been a process today. Anywho, welcome everyone. It's our normal Monday after live stream. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you enjoyed the racing this weekend at Michigan. But before that, George, welcome. We have some news, some breaking NASCAR news as of, let's see, a little bit over 2 hours ago. From MBM Motorsports, also known as Garage 56. This is earth-shattering here. They are bringing back a number in the truck series that has not been used in quite a while, for the first time since 2003. In fact, that number is 69. So yeah, that's the kind of news you guys want to hear about and you subscribe to this channel for. So here you go. Here's the earth-shattering news. That is all. Next up, Christopher Bell is what the kids call a knower of ball. I think that's what they say. Because look at this hat. Look at this wonderful hat that Christopher Bell is wearing here. Christopher Bell is a native of Norman, Oklahoma, which, well, at least he's got a nice hat. We'll go with that. Anywho. Now to the Cup results. Yes, David, it was crazy racing. Also, I'm making a hat change. But Thunder, good win last night. Yeah, both races were kind of crazy. Like the truck series too, if we come over here. The finishing results in the truck race, though, it's a little wacky. Stuart Friesen picked up the win. What a top 10 that we had. We had a wreck that took out essentially the top 10 of the race. I think Hocevar was in it. Heck, I think Lane Riggs was in it. Took out some really good drivers. Corey Haim was in it. Chastain was in it. Like, it took out the top 10. But before that caution that caused that wreck, there was actually a lot of really good racing going on in the truck series. I mean, that race at Michigan was fantastic. It's the first time they've been there since 2019. Truck series had a fantastic race. Both races were fantastic. I don't have a negative thing to say about the Cup race. The truck race, I guess it could have been a little bit less wrecky at the end, but Cup race, no complaints from me. Fantastic racing. In between the lanes, what's up? Yeah, it's I'm wearing a Texas Longhorn shirt here because they won the softball national championship. But yeah, Norman, Oklahoma. That's unfortunate that he's an OU fan, but I'm sure Norman's a great town. I've been there once or twice, maybe. I've driven through it a bunch, but yeah, OU's there, so that's unfortunate for them. These are jokes, people. It's part of a rivalry. Anywho, yes, what's up in between the lanes? Yeah, Corey LaJoie got a top 5. He led 12 laps. Looked like he was going to be in a somewhat decent position, but I think he had older tires there at the end, so there was no, like, people were on the internet, once again, it's the internet, so you can't take it too seriously. They're like, oh, LaJoie threw it away. He choked that race away. No, I'm pretty sure he had older tires there, so I don't think he necessarily choked it. I mean, he ended up having a great day. Top 5. It's his first truck race of the year. The '07 truck has been extremely inconsistent. We saw Kyle Busch win in it at Atlanta. We saw Kyle Larson run really well in it, but other drivers have struggled in it, including Kyle Busch, who's like the Truck Series all-time great, So the '07 truck has been all over the place, so it's kind of hard to get a real gauge at where that actual specific truck is. So for Corey LaJoie to show up in his first race, avoid the chaos, be in position to win the race, and still get a top 5 out of it when all the chaos is going on, I think that's a great Truck Series season debut for him, and he's still got 8 races left on schedule. If he continues to perform like that, he'll put himself in position to win again and potentially get it done, in my opinion. Yeah, Frankie Muniz. Okay, you can't see him here, but Frankie Muniz has struggled this year. He's not in the greatest truck, but a top 15 at a non-super speedway track, that's a great result for him. I think he had a top 10 early. Can I click on him here? I think I got to go to the standings. But Frankie has had a struggle of a season. He had a great result at Daytona. He's had some things go wrong, some mechanical failures. And late in this race, he's starting on the second row, had a really bad restart, which he took responsibility for. But look at this. As I said, struggle of a year, but Daytona top 10. Since then, he hasn't finished better than 24th. Okay, he finished 23rd at Rockingham. But they've struggled this year. They really have. And for him to come out here to Michigan, have a great day, survive the chaos for the most part, and get a top 15, that's a huge day for them. So, great job by Frankie Muniz this past weekend. As I said, they've had a struggle of a year, but for them to get a result like that's really good for that team, really good for Frankie. So, just really happy for him. And Rayum, once again, apologies if I pronounced that wrong, Brothers Racing. So yeah, Frankie with top 15. Hello, Rolando. Apologies once again if I pronounced your name wrong. Sorry. But Rolando, hello, welcome. Hope you're doing okay. Having a good Monday night or Monday morning. It's not Monday morning anywhere. It's almost the end of the day here, and we're on the western side of the world. There's no way it's Monday morning. Monday night, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Denny Hamlin. Yeah, Denny Hamlin. NASCAR's YouTube channel made the wildest thumbnail. I forgot to put it in my tabs. So I'm going to make sure I got the noise off. I am going to come over here and I am going to show you NASCAR's thumbnail for Denny Hamlin's post-race quote. So for those of you who don't know, Denny Hamlin got out of the car after one of the races he won a couple of years ago, and he said, "I beat your favorite driver." It was like a really cool line. But then he kind of said it again. It was kind of forced upon him, if you ask me, because I can't remember who was doing it, but they were like, "You got anything you want to say, Denny, about other people's drivers?" And he's like, "I beat your favorite driver." And he brought it back this weekend, and he said that his dad told him to retire the line. But please, ladies and gentlemen, look at this thumbnail here. This is just quite the thumbnail by the NASCAR creative team. Yes, this is real. You can go to the official NASCAR YouTube channel and see that this is indeed a thumbnail. That is all for that. But just thought everyone needed to see that. One of those, if I suffer, you suffer things, I guess. Anywho, let's get back to the comments. Yeah, I saw a lot of people giving LaJoie some crap for that. And it was, at the time, it still is. It doesn't matter when you say that. When LaJoie said, I don't want to be racing in front of 12 people. That's not what you say when you don't want to go truck racing. Trucks have had good crowds this year. I remember at Texas about a month ago, I was at that race. There was a pretty good crowd for a truck race. The truck race this past weekend, the crowd looked pretty decently full. So not the smartest comment by LaJoie. And then his defense this past weekend when he was in a press conference was that he was hangry. Not the greatest defense there either, but at least he said he shouldn't have said it, I guess. So it is a little bit ironic, of course, but hey, he's in the Truck Series now, so he's driving something. I think that's what he wants to be doing. Javier, hello. Denny Hamlin, I would say he deserved that win. They played the strategy right. They got enough fuel in the car. Denny Hamlin drove a great, clean race. Him and Byron, let's talk about that. Denny Hamlin and William Byron have been having some incredible battles over the past few weeks. The Coca-Cola 600, they battled at Nashville with Ryan Blaney for the lead at one point. These two, right now, they're both on hot streaks. They're both running incredibly well at the top of their game. They're arguably the best two drivers right now, at least in this past 3-4 week stretch, whatever we want to call it. But, these two have been killing it. They're next to each other every single race, and it's not like they're next to each other for 13th, for 8th. This is for wins. And yeah, both of them fell short in the 600. Sure. Nashville, Blaney was better than them both. Don't think anyone's going to debate that. But this past week, Byron, arguably the best car. Denny Hamlin puts himself in position at the end of this race. They have a great battle at the end. No one wrecks each other. No one punts each other. Hey, I had a great time. Great race. So I thought it was really exciting personally. I know there's a lot of Denny haters out there, but I thought it was extremely exciting. Oh, yes. Hello, Jamie. Yeah, I forgot to. I always know that I'm forgetting a tab. It's fantasy. So I will pull up the fantasy tab up here where you can't see it, and I will slide it in after points. After we go through the points, Jamie, we'll go through our fantasy points. Thank you for the reminder, Jamie. Always on it. Always on it when I'm not on it. We are very thankful for Jamie here and reminding me to do the fantasy league. Ooh, I moved up in the points. Let's go. Oh, let's go. I got a top 10. It's a miracle. We're going to do it now. I already put it on the side here. So fantasy standings, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So fantasy standings. I got a top 10, baby. Come on. This is a rare occasion. Please let me be happy. But Dunkin' Donuts is our winner. Everyone give a round of applause to Dunkin' Donuts for the big win this week. I think that's our league leader. Dunkin' Donuts. First off, there's the top 15. Dan the Jets fan. Oh, man, that's our defending champion. Once again, it's a championship hangover. Let's see here. Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts. A 12-point lead over Klaus van Gisbergen. Zerkman 95, losing touch, but podium. Fantastic Priest, not that far off. Javier, I will put the link in the description or in the live chat once I'm done reading through the standings, and you can join. You'll probably pass me in the points pretty quickly because I'm really bad at this. Aussie Matt is 5th. Hell on Wheels 24 6th. RT Racing. Oh boy, here we go. Expat _ Kiwi _ Mike _ Wallace. Dan the Jets fan down to 9th. Matt Smith 53 is 10th. Zero Apex is 11th. Tyler Hernandez 6th. Micah MLB 15. David Jerry is 14th. I'm 15th, but I moved up a couple spots. I can't complain. Oscar Dave, Crackler, Sportswagon, Dr. Zero, Jamie, the lifelong Logano fan, by the way, Nee, Hack Dash House, Supercar Nuts, Space Wrangler Racing, Tritech, JTF526, Rebutted, and a bunch of people who haven't filled out their entries still. So I will put that link in the live chat real quick. And I think it was Javier. Let me check that. Yes, it was Javier who had said something. So Javier, if you want to join, feel free to join. Come over here, click this, clicking on this, paste, bam. There you go. I'll even pin it just in case you have to leave for a minute and you want to come back. Bam. There you go. All right. So back to whatever we were talking about before. Rolando. Okay, I'm glad I said your name right. Yes, big news this weekend in the NASCAR world. We have a fourth manufacturer once again. Ram. Sorry, Ram. I forgot. I always forget that Ram and Dodge are separate now. It used to be a Dodge Ram, but now it's just Ram. Ram trucks are going to be in the Truck Series in 2026. We don't yet know the team or the drivers, but Ram trucks are back. It's really exciting. It's really fun to have a fourth manufacturer, to have an old friend return in a sense. I'm really excited. There's been some rumblings, rumors, reports, whatever you want to say about Dodge potentially jumping in the Cup Series. Still some recent stuff about Honda from Adam Stern. So we'll see. I don't want to get it too ahead of myself, but it's really exciting to have something back, for something to be confirmed in terms of a fourth manufacturer. So I'm really excited to see what they can do, to see who they team up with. Hopefully, I'm hoping that one of a top-tier truck team will jump over to them so we can have a competitive Dodge team. They may have their growing pains initially, but, a couple years down the road that they'll be up there competing for championships with whoever, Tricon or something, or whoever it may be. So, yeah, Spire. I don't know. Whoever decides to jump over there. Yes, we will talk about Mexico City here in a bit. We still got a little ways to go before we make our... Oh, dang it. I didn't think I was going to have to say it this early. I got a friend who speaks Spanish. So I've been sending him a bunch of stuff, telling him to translate it for me. Selección de lunes. Yeah, we'll be doing that at one point tonight. So yeah, my Spanish is horrible, but I'm going to be using like 3-word phrases for the entire week. Like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Please don't make me say more than that. It will go horribly wrong and I will get yelled at more than likely. Yahoo! Says in between the lanes. Yep. That was Denny's sponsor. I still like last year's paint scheme I thought was better. The Yahoo one. But I do like the touch of the Yahoo going around the car. I think I got some pictures of that in Vegas. I'm not saying it's ugly, but I just thought last year's was cleaner. Oh, Javier, I don't think Denny rammed Larson in the wall. He ran him up the track a little bit, and he almost wrecked himself in the process, but Larson didn't even touch the wall. He slowed Larson up, I'll give you that much, but rammed him in the wall, that's an exaggeration. Marty, I see where you're coming from, where like Hocevar had control of the race late, but he was still going to be, I think, 3 or 4 laps short in terms of racing for the win. So they were still going to have to pit regardless. But obviously, 19 to go, the tire goes down. Like, they didn't even have a chance to see where the fuel would be at or to see how much they could save. So, in a sense, I kind of get where you're coming from. But at the same time, yeah, I don't think it would have happened just because they were so short on fuel, unless they wildly miscalculated and they were actually like 4 laps to the good or something, I guess. Yeah, Elliott, Kyle Busch. Who remember last year? Last year, there were so many winless streaks that got snapped. I mean, Cindric, Elliott, who else? You're going to have to give me a second. I'm going through numerical order in my head. Austin Dillon, Brad Keselowski, that was a big one. Wow, this is taking me longer than I thought. There was a lot of winless streaks that got snapped last year. So this year we haven't seen any. Kyle Busch is still on a long winless streak. Chase Elliott has unlocked a new winless streak. Bubba Wallace is still on a long winless streak. If we come over here, let's see who's on a winless streak right now. Brad's on a more than a year winless streak. Eric Jones is on a really long winless streak. Tyler Reddick, he's getting close to a year, I think. Did he win in the playoffs? Oh, yeah, he did. He won at Homestead. I'm an idiot. Ignore me. Guys, ignore me. I'm stupid. Daniel Suarez is on more than a year winless streak now. Elliott, as I said. Allmendinger's he was part-time for a bit there, so SVG, he doesn't have enough starts to be on a long winless streak. These two have won in the last year, like within a year, so they're not really on a winless streak. Logano won like 3 weeks ago. Briscoe's kind of getting close to a year. McDowell's on a long winless streak, almost 2 years now. Cindric won like 3 weeks ago. Blaney won a week and a half ago. So, yeah, Cole Custer, he's on a 5-year winless streak, kind of, because remember, he went back to Xfinity, so that's a little skewed. Bowman's approaching a 1-year winless streak, so who's going to snap a winless streak? I'm going to say it has to be a year or more. So, like, for example, it can't be Bowman. Bowman hasn't reached a year yet. Briscoe hasn't reached a year yet. Who's going to snap that winless streak? Elliott, Kyle Busch, Brad, Bubba, like who's next up to snap a year-plus long winless streak? I think Kyle's got a good chance this week, and Elliott, if we're being honest. But, oh, by the way, speaking of Mexico, we're not making our Monday picks right now. We still got a long way to go in this live stream. We're only 16, 17 minutes into this thing, but I will be doing like a very in-depth video on Mexico City. I will be looking at statistics for drivers on road courses. I will be looking at new road courses and how the drivers stack up statistically at new road courses specifically. We will talk about the track itself, the track layout. We'll look at some odds, MGM or Caesars, however I feel, whatever side of the bed I wake up on. If I wake up on the Caesar side, MGM side, we'll look at those odds. So it's going to be an in-depth kind of a Mexico preview. I'll give you some predictions. I'll give you some like, hey, I think, look at this value. I don't know, whatever. It's so bets, whatever. I don't know what to officially call it. Let's just call it a preview, a Mexico preview for NASCAR. So I'll be doing that. I'm looking at Thursday to release it. I'm in the process of moving. So by the way, this could be the last time you see the Monday after in this specific room. We'll still be doing it. It'll still be the same setup where you got the screen this way. I think I point this way. This way? I think the screen's that way. Yeah. So the screen's over here. You're still going to see it up here. I'm still going to be down in the corner where I can talk and whatever. But it's just going to be a little bit of a different background. So I don't know. Like that, my corner over there. Mexico preview honestly might be the last time you ever see that. Like, you're still going to see, like, everything I have up there. It's just going to be in a different order, and I'm going to add I got a couple other decorations I'm going to add, so I guess this suddenly turned into a channel announcement. You're going to see a new background starting this weekend for Mexico. Anyways. Oh, Mike Wallace, that's so unfortunate. Had Hocevar and Byron. Who did I have in my lineup? I didn't use Byron. I think I only have like 3 uses of Byron left, so I was going to save those till later. I think I used Hocevar though, because I hadn't used him yet and I needed to use him and I didn't want to use Byron, so I bought into the hype and I used Hocevar, and he would have had a good points haul if it wasn't for that tire and the potential of him running out of fuel, but oh well. I suck anyway, so it hurt you more than it hurt me, Mike. You're actually good at fantasy. Yeah, it seems like Zero Apex said the same thing. Was going to have a good points haul before Hocevar cut that tire. So I know who I'm putting in my fantasy lineup next week. Yeah, that's right. I think I'm literally just going to go Trackhouse, like Chase Elliott, and probably burn a Larson. And I'll put Logano on my bench since Logano wins every first race anywhere. Mike's going to go with the SVG this week. We'll save that for the end. Jamie, we're kind of close. The SVG weekly recap. We got a few tabs to go till we get there. We got 2 this week. Ooh, so fancy. Sean, yeah. The 77 was 4 laps short. 4 laps seems to be the number, so... Yeah, Jamie, Hocevar's a young driver. Yes, he drives for Spire, but he's been killing it this year. If we come over here to the standings, Hocevar is on the playoff bubble. Which, by the way, still no playoff bubble on the NASCAR official website. I have it loaded up on their Twitter, thankfully. They actually did that. But as you can see here, the only Spire car on the bubble. So as we broke it down the other night, these two, barring a bunch of winners, they're in regardless. Everyone else is on the bubble, I would say. Bubba, if he has a bad 3-race stretch, and road courses aren't his strength, and there's 3 road courses in the next 5 races. So if they don't perform well, they could very well be down here in 5 weeks. But if they perform above expectation, they can extend it. You never know. And also, you look at who's below the cutoff line with those road courses. Kyle Busch had arguably the best car at COTA. AJ Allmendinger, a fantastic road racer, so that could shuffle things up. Briscoe, their problem is finishing races. They obviously have the raw pace. They've got 4 poles this year already, which is just so random. So they've been killing it in terms of raw speed. They just can't finish the deal. Like this past week, what did they finish? Did they beat? No, they fell behind SVG late. I watched that. 23rd. They led 11 laps early. They were in the top 10 for a good chunk of the day, I think. But 23rd with a car that won the pole, and your teammates are finishing 1st and 3rd? Like, I don't know, man. Just, they got to finish races. They got to finish. And I know they were involved in something at some point during that race in terms of the wrecks, but yeah, they got to get out of there. Buescher, I feel good about because Buescher's going to top 10 anywhere. I mean, we look at the road courses coming up. Buescher won at Watkins Glen. He had some long top 10 streak. He might still be on that top 10 streak at the road courses. Bowman's a solid road racer. Priest, kind of unproven. I don't really know where he sits on the road courses. Just because he was at Stuart Haas, when Stuart Haas was kind of stinky. Kyle Busch, we already talked about. Hocevar, I got to do a deeper dive into his stats. Allmendinger, we obviously know. Stenhouse, we'll see. Jones, we'll see. But yep, this is you can't even see Jones and Stenhouse. I'm just realizing that. Apologies. But there you go. There's your playoff bubble. But yeah, it's getting close to crunch time here for the playoffs. But as we all know, a Shane Van Gisbergen could win at Mexico, and all of a sudden, the cutoff line is here. Bowman's still plus 13, but all of a sudden, Priest and Busch are minus 13. Hocevar and Allmendinger are minus 31. Stenhouse is minus 33, and Jones is minus 49. Like, it's a huge swing if we get someone low in the standings winning a race. So, yeah. I don't know how we got on that side tangent, but hello, Klaus NZ. Anyone know which Cup driver won the last race held outside the U.S.? Jamie, I saw a chart today, actually. Speaking of, I was going to use this for my video on Thursday, but I guess we will pull this up tonight. So give me a second. I'm scrolling. Here we go. So, here is this chart from Seth Eggert. Here are your international winners in NASCAR, right here. By international winners, I don't mean foreign drivers. I mean who has won on international races. So we got Truck Series. They raced at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the longest time. They used to go to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, which is the F1 race, or the F1 track in Xfinity. They went to the current track we're about to go to, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Xfinity. So, yeah, here you go. Last winner is actually Kyle Busch. That's funny. Denny Hamlin's won there. So we got 2 active drivers who have won at this track, but obviously completely different car. The track, I'm sure, has been different. We are in completely different cars and whatnot. It's the Cup Series. We got a completely different field. Like, no offense to Denny Hamlin, but he is not exactly the best road racer. So he's really good at qualifying for the road racing, but it's the finishing that is not as strong for him. But to answer your question, Jamie, technically Mike Skinner He won in Japan, but it was an exhibition. If we're going to points, Canadian Exposition Stadium in 1958, Lee Petty. So, Lee Petty, Mike Skinner. If you want to get really technical, Justin Haley. And that should be all. Where were we? Okay, so Briscoe was a part of the Bowman incident. Yeah, Alex Bowman's on a slide recently. In fact, we're going to go to his numbers. Bowman had such a strong start to the season, if I remember correctly. Oh, my goodness, yes, he did. Look at this, guys. 6th in the Daytona 500. 26th at Echo Park Speedway. Such a funny name. But then look at this. This is just a beautiful start, even with the bad race at Atlanta. 6th, 9th, 7th, 2nd. Beautiful. That's exactly what you want to start a season. Oh my goodness, what happened? 27th, 35th, 37th, 7th, 35th, 5th. All-Star race doesn't count. 29th, 36th, 36th. What happened? Now, Marty said it. Some of it's bad luck. Some of it is you get caught up in someone else's mess. Counter argument, where the mess is happening, they should not be. This is a Hendrick Motorsports car. This is Alex Bowman, who's won 8 NASCAR Cup Series races. Why is he in the crashes with Noah Gragson in the back of the pack? Why is he in the crashes with... Who was even involved in that crash? Cole Custer, who's like 35th in the points. Like, Alex Bowman shouldn't be back there, respectfully. So, I said it last night. They need to get back here somehow where they're consistently popping off top 10s, top 5s, leading laps, getting stage points like at Homestead. They need to get back to this place. They need to get back here, running up front where they belong. They know they belong up here because they've proven they can do it, but they just need a 3-race stretch. I'm not saying they have to light the world on fire over those 3 random races, whether it's Mexico, Pocono, and Chicago, or it's Chicago, Sonoma, Dover. I don't care what 3 races, but sometime in the next 6 weeks, just string together 3 straight weeks of good finishes, top 10s. If you finish 10th for 3 straight weeks, take a sigh of relief and say, all right, we know what we can do. We know what happens when we avoid the trouble and have an average day. We run 10th. But then when we have that above average day, we're doing this again. We're fighting for the wins. They need to get back to this point. They cannot afford any more of the 35, 37, 35, 29, 36, 36. They cannot afford that anymore with the points position they are in. They need to quickly snap out of it. Get out of this funk. Go get back to this. And this. No. 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 And definitely no. I think my point has been made. So, we'll go back to the points. William Byron's still your points leader, by the way. I think he had a 48-point lead heading into this week, so he only loses 7 points. Not bad. Yes, Brian. SVG does have a YouTube channel. I'm sure if you just search Shane Van Gisbergen, it'll be like the first thing if I had to guess. So, yeah, we'll get to Mexico. Eventually, it's only 8:29, so we still got a bit to go. We'll get there around 8:50, 8:55. Jamie, I just read off a graphic made by someone else, so thanks, Seth. Go give him a follow on Twitter. He's got some good stuff. Darlington Xfinity Series 2022 Top 3 Battle. Oh boy, David. If you told me Cup Series, I could have remembered, but Xfinity Series from 2022, Gregson and Gibbs would have probably been in there, I guess. So I'm going to need some more specifics. Yeah, in between the lanes. I forgot the Stanley Cup final. Who's winning? Ooh, the Panthers. Man, they have... I should watch hockey more, man. I say this every single year during the playoffs, but the playoffs are just thrilling in hockey. It's amazing. So fun. Double overtime a couple nights ago, overtime the night before, like it's incredible. And it's like scoring. It's not like it's 0-0 like a soccer game where it's just they sit around, it's 0-0, they flop around a bunch. Like they're trying to murder each other on the ice. Checking, punching, whacking each other with the sticks, which I know is illegal, but sometimes it happens. People's teeth are getting knocked out. I went to a minor league hockey game like 3-4 years ago. Dude, one of the most thrilling experiences of my life. Like, there's barely anyone there. It's a super small arena. You can hear every single movement, every single thing. The fights are insane. One dude, like, gets hit so hard, like, he's bleeding across the entire ice when he goes to the locker room, and they're still fighting, like, over his blood. They had to delay the game to shovel out the bloody ice. It was truly a thrilling experience. Life-changing. I had a great time. I should go back. It was in Birmingham. I got to figure out their schedule next time I'm in Birmingham. I think the tickets were like $10 too. It was a great experience. Yeah, Canada hasn't won the Stanley Cup in a long time. We're getting so off track. But anywho, yeah, Canada hasn't won it in a while. So Edmonton, that'd be a big deal for them. Oh God, Jamie, is there a video of this Joey Logano first pitch? I gotta see this. Four days ago. Facebook. Do I even have Facebook? Oh, I do. That's horrifying. I don't think I've ever used it. All right, let's see this first pitch. Oh, ooh, my Lord. Ooh. Glad he's a race car driver. All right, everyone, get ready to look at. Woo! Throwing some heat there. At least he pitched up on the mound. I'll give him credit. He stayed up on the mound, and he got it over, like, he didn't throw it in the dirt. It wasn't the most accurate pitch. It wasn't the prettiest pitch, but at least he was on the mound, and he didn't throw it into the dirt or even worse, the grass. If he threw it in the grass, so that's rough for sure, but that could have been much worse. So, yeah. Yeah, Joey's a lefty. He's a lefty. I don't remember the first time I realized that. I think it was like during a broadcast they showed him he was signing stuff with his left hand. Let's see what we talked about. We talked about the bubble. We've talked about Byron starting to catch Larson laps led. Larson's been, I hate to call it a skid, but you look at what they've done the last few weeks. God, I forgot about Darlington. That was such a bad race for him. Nashville, they were pretty irrelevant by their standards. They were never in contention for the win. I don't even remember how they got to 8th, but they were really bad at the beginning of that race. Almost got lapped. Charlotte, obviously, the whole disappointment of the Indy 500, but then they show up, they lead 40 laps, and then Larson just spins out of the lead. Like, what the hell? Where did that come from? And then Michigan, they were decent, but not as bad as Nashville, but they were never quite as fast as Byron, as Hamlin, as other guys up there. So I would even argue at times Chase Elliott was faster than him, but it says 5th, which that's a good solid result. But they're fighting for playoff points. They're trying to win the regular season championship, and they gotta win races to do that. So. Yeah, hey, thunder up in between the lanes. Let's see. Who do we want to look at? Anyone else? Do we want to go to the SVG recap? We can just move on to the SVG recap if we got nothing else going on here. Barry's still. I thought he'd climb up in the points a little bit more. No, he's not that far off of Cindric. Cindric does have that penalty, though. I kind of factor that into him this year. He'd be about here if it wasn't for that penalty. And I'm not saying that he didn't deserve it. I mean, what he did was stupid, but they've been running really well this year. Ty Gibbs, he's almost that. Okay, you know what? Before we do the SVG recap, we're going to talk about who needs a win at this point. So the cutoff line is right here. Ryan Preece at 322. There's 11 races left in the regular season. 322 is the cutoff. I'm going to say, I know Ty Gibbs and Austin Dillon are tied. I'm going to say Austin Dillon down. They have to win to make the playoffs. Ty Gibbs, they could get hot. They're in a Joe Gibbs racing car. He's a decent road racer. Pocono's a good track for him. Looking down the line a bit, Dover's been good for Gibbs. Indianapolis, we don't know much about yet. In the next gen era. Then we go to Iowa and Richmond. And then we got Watkins Glen somewhere in there and Daytona. So Gibbs could string together some finishes and he could close a 52-point gap on a Preece, on a Kyle Busch. I'd say it's a long shot, realistically, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be a Joe Gibbs racing car. But from Austin Dillon back, so Austin Dillon, John Hunter, Todd, Suarez, Haley, Dillon, Gregson, Brad, SVG, Herbst, Custer, Cody Ware, they need wins to make the playoffs. Cody Ware might mathematically be there already. He still has not scored 100 points yet. He is 322. Let's do some math here. 322. He is 227 points out. So the most you can get is 61, but someone's got to score one. So a win gets you in. So 56. So 55 points. 55 times 5 is 275. Okay, so mathematically he's still in it. I over-exaggerated, but let's be realistic. Cody Ware's not scoring that many points. Custer, Herbst, SVG, like if you're under, as I said, I think Dillon onwards, you got to win a race. So that's where we stand for that. Actually, okay, I lied. Once again, I lied. Before we go to the SVG recap, let's look at the current seeding for the in-season tournament. Current seeding. By the way, we have an active NASCAR Cup Series driver over here who is confused by the way that this thing is seeded, Carson Hocevar. He thought it was just based off points, but no, it's based off your finish. Yes, Carson, it's a weird system. I don't know why they made it so weird, but they did. On the bright side, let's be real. Hamlin would be one of the top seeds, so that worked out well. But as of right now, these are your seedings. Hamlin is going to be at worst a 3 seed. Buescher at worst is going to be a 6 seed. Gibbs at worst is going to be a 9, if I'm doing my math correct here. Bubba a 12. Larson a 15. Chastain 18, I guess. I'm probably doing this wrong if I had to guess. But I know for sure Hamlin, the worst he can be is a 3. So, hey, there you go. Bowman, you see, here's my biggest problem. Bowman beating Hamlin, I would say that's a little bit of an upset for sure. But a 32 beating a 1 should be like earth-shattering. Like that should be Cody Ware beating Denny Hamlin. Like, that's not supposed to happen. That's what I want to see in this bracket-style March Madness kind of thing. That's what I want to see. But as of right now, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, if Bowman beats Hamlin, I'd be like, Oh, good for Bowman. But I'm not going to be like, oh my God, Bowman just eliminated Hamlin. This is like the biggest upset ever. If it was like Cody Ware, Cole Custer, like on an oval and SVG, I'd be like, holy crap, like that's a big deal. But the way it's set up, I mean, this isn't finalized. This is going to change a lot over the next 2 weeks. Like, I don't know. I'm probably just complaining to complain. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. Anywho. All right, people. We're doing the Shane Van Gisbergen recap here. Oh, no, I'm saving that hat for later. Never mind. I thought I had a hat lined up. Give me a second to go through my notes, and then we will go through this. Oh, my God. I can't read my own handwriting sometimes. I'm not going to lie, guys. Yesterday, so I had my double TV set up. Internet started crapping out last night. So the second TV is the TV with the onboard for SVG, and I had no internet for like the last 50 laps on that TV. I have no idea. I had no idea until this afternoon when I watched the race replay how he got to 18th, because it crashed out when he was like 23rd or something. And I was like, how did he get to 18th? Like, well, that's why I do this, so you'll get to know. All right, let's do this thing. Give me about 10, 15 minutes as always. I appreciate your patience for doing this every week, but I know there's a good chunk of people who care about SVG's results and whatnot, so we shall appeal to those people. So, anywho, let's get going. 46. Shane Van Gisbergen fans, I got good news for you. Next week, in just 6 days now, it's a road course. Right turns will be made, so SVG, there you go. I know you guys have been killing. You've been waiting a long time for him to have a chance at winning once again on a road course. Well, next week is your week. But before that, we have to talk about Michigan, the most recent race in the NASCAR Cup Series. SVG got another top 20. Remember, it was a really rough start to the year with a bunch of 30s, back half of the 20s, some wrecks, some mistakes, some penalties. Disastrous start to the year. They've started to pick it up. They have started to figure it out a little bit more, and the results have been coming. The 14th at Charlotte, the 20th at Kansas, 22nd at Texas, 20th at Darlington, and now here he is with another top 20 and 18th place at Michigan. Michigan, if you read the tweet here, decent weekend with another top 20 in the safety culture Chevy, which, by the way, he will be using safety culture once again at Mexico. Wild track, average speed on the qualifying lap was 312 kilometers an hour. I don't know how many miles an hour that is, but it's fast. Emojis. Looking forward to some right-handers next week. As I said, Mexico. So, Michigan. This is a big deal for the manufacturers. Michigan is close to Detroit, the Motor City, where GM, Ford, other big auto manufacturers in the United States are based. So this is a huge deal for the manufacturers. It's a 2-mile track, which is equivalent to 3.22 kilometers. It is a super fast track. As SVG said here, 312 kilometers an hour. That's really fast. Well, just wait until I tell you about the track record. Back in 2014, Jeff Gordon set the track record for a NASCAR car. Average speed of the qualifying lap, of the pole lap, was 206.558 miles per hour, which is equivalent to 332.423 kilometers an hour. Yeah, man. Gordon would go on to win that race. But yeah, Michigan is an extremely fast track. D-shaped oval, banking on the majority of the track. Like, it's a super, like this, when people talk about fast tracks, this is the fastest track. So Michigan, it's a cool track, really fast. We had a fantastic race, by the way, yesterday. I highly encourage you, if you have not, go watch the race highlights from yesterday. Fantastic race yesterday, in my opinion. Anyways, let's get on to the SVG recap. So, just like Kansas, starts off the weekend with a flat tire during practice. We've seen this a few times this year where crew chiefs teams will push the issue in terms of the tire pressure. Goodyear, the tire manufacturer, they give the teams an estimated kind of tire air pressure to have in the tire. They give you a range and they'll say, all right, don't go too low, like don't go below this number. Well, sometimes those teams see that number and they're like, we're going to go a little bit lower and see what happens. This is what happens. We saw it throughout the weekend with a few drivers, SVG, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney during practice. During the race, we saw it with Todd Gilliland and Austin Cindric, Carson Hocevar. So this was not an 88 specific thing. It was a theme throughout the weekend when teams would push the limit. He ended up qualifying 26th, which you may see that number if you're an SVG fan. You may not be happy with that, but if we come over here to his statistics on the season, clicking here, it's going to, oh, please, internet, don't crash out right now. Oh, thank goodness. '26th is one of his better oval starting spots. We see a 28th at Vegas earlier this year, 29th at Phoenix, but we see a lot of 30s in here. In fact, he had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 race streak in the 30s. But look at the last two, 23rd at Nashville, 26th at Michigan. The qualifying, it's not shooting out of a cannon now, but it is improving. And that is the goal for Shane Van Gisbergen. Opening stint of the race, first 14 or so laps, he had said that he was loose. He was on the edge in terms of where the car was. Ran just 26th, 27th the entire stage, like those two positions. And then he made up one spot at the end and ends up finishing 25th. I mean, really uneventful first stage. Not much to report on there. Now we get to something fun. Fuel saving. We talked about this at the super speedways where they'll run like 70% throttle and they won't go flat out, and you know that annoys some fans. But at Michigan, you're still going full speed. You're still driving the car. It's not a super speedway where you're flooring it the whole lap, but you're going really fast. But fuel saving is a big deal here. Michigan has been known over the years for having fuel mileage races. If you look at Michigan highlights, you're bound to find a few fuel mileage races. So that was the story actually at the end of the race on Sunday for the leaders, but it's a story for everyone throughout the field. Everyone's saving fuel. Everyone's pushing the limit on it. So the instant a caution comes out, the stage ends, you're turning off the engine, you're coasting, you're doing whatever you do to save fuel. That's the name of the game at Michigan. So every time caution comes out, hey, caution's out, save fuel, save fuel. That's the name of the game. So it's a really big deal to save fuel at Michigan. The 99 car, obviously Shane Van Gisbergen's teammate Daniel Suarez, they had a left front tire problem and they had to pit in the middle of this very short stage one, only 45 laps. Well, SVG right at the end of the stage had said he had a little bit of a vibration, but of course they ended up not having any problems with it because that was right at the end of the stage. They were able to pit, but it was notable that their teammate had a problem. They were able to analyze it, study it, figure out whatever that problem was. They pit, they restart 21st in stage 2. They got up into 18th. The restarts are crazy at Michigan. Michigan, as I said, it's a big track and it's a fast track. So kind of like the Indy 500, you got the draft. You can really get a run on someone when you're running in a straight line and you can kind of slingshot around them. Well, in NASCAR, we see a lot of side drafting. When two cars are like running side by side, they're pulling each other back. You know, they're kind of pulling the driver in front to them so they can make a pass. But when two drivers are screwing around and slowing each other down, We'll see the car way back here all by himself. He'll be drafting, gaining speed as these two are pulling speed off of another, and they'll be able to slingshot past them both. So the restarts here just are insane, crazy, 3 wide, 4 wide, swinging to the bottom of the track, swinging up the track, whatever you got to do to make up track position. It's a hornet's nest everywhere on this racetrack. Michigan is just insane. It's crazy. He was able to get up to 18th using some of those kind of things that you can do, but then falls back to 25th right before a caution. He got on, said, good restart. Not great after. And that, I think that sums it up well. They ended up staying out after this caution. They restarted 15th, and then very quickly there was another caution, which turned into a red flag. Alex Bowman, hard crash. Rear tires got in the air. He is okay, though. Very good news there. During the red flag, they just kind of had some strategy debates like, hey, if we come in and pit here, do we take 2 tires, 4 tires? Like, what do we want to do with the fuel situation? So, just had some discussions around the strategy. So, once it's yellow again, we see a lot of split strategies. We see some guys stay out. Some guys had already pitted that previous caution, and they stay out after that. And we see a bunch of other people pit. So SVG is one of the guys who pits. As I said, we got a lot of people staying out. They end up coming out of the pits basically last. They were in the 30s at this point, just the way things shuffled out. And so they decided, hey, fuel's the name of the game. We're already sitting back here in 31st, 32nd. Why not just come in, top it off on fuel, make sure we're good, have that little extra bit just in case we need it, and we'll drop 2 positions, restart 33rd. That's what they do. John Hunter Nemechek wrecked himself right in front of SVG. Got a good view of it. Another caution. They stayed out. They restarted 28th. Lap 84, the car was a little bit worse in stage 2. SVG came over the radio complaining about the car the most in stage 2. Remember last week, stage 2 was their strength. They ran really well. They finished 13th. And then stage 3 is where things kind of fell apart in a sense. This week, stage 2, things didn't fall apart, but they ran much worse in stage 2 compared to stages 1 and 3. So stage 2 was kind of their, I hate to say disaster, it was their bad stage. But lap 84, he said he didn't have confidence in the car because of the rear. He was really loose. And then Shane Van Gisbergen and his Rookie of the Year rival, Riley Herbst. Ladies and gentlemen, they are having a thrilling Rookie of the Year battle for 33rd in the points at the moment. SVG does have a 7-point edge, though. And they got into it. Now, it wasn't aggressive. No one came on the radio screaming and shouting like what we saw with SVG and Kyle Busch last week. But SVG went to pass Herbst on the inside on the exit of 2. These cars, when they're like centimeters or even millimeters apart on the exit of a turn on an intermediate, like the inside car kind of just keeps on pushing up. And we've seen a lot of incidents with this generation of car where when that happens, the outside car gets kind of screwed and they get put in the position of lift or go in the wall. Well, Herbst had to lift, but SVG realized what was happening and he also lifted. So they both slow each other down a bunch. They lose a couple of positions. And then going into 3 and 4, it happens again. And they go from like battling for 26th to 33rd and 34th. So, as I said, just the aerodynamics of the car, ill-handling car for SVG, like it just was a bad combination. And the Rookie of the Year contenders end up, I hate to say getting into it, because once again, if there was any contact, it was minimal. It was common NASCAR contact. I went back and listened to Herbst's radio. He wasn't even upset about it. Like, it was nothing significant in terms of like, oh, he's going to pay you back next week, but it cost both of them 6-7 positions. 11 to go in stage 2. They're running 25th. They had rallied back, gained some spots, but SVG was talking about how he couldn't charge the entry. It was just too loose and whatnot. So 11 to go in the stage. They ended up pitting, restarting 22nd. Rough final laps of the stage, and they finished 22nd, or 27th. Apologies. Then in stage 3, he says that it's a completely different car, super loose, that they need changes. Then they go to pit during a caution, and, they leave the wrench in the car. You can't do that. You can't race with the wrench in the back of your car. So he stops it on pit road, backs it up. They take the wrench out. And while they're there, once again, they're kind of last in this situation. So they just go ahead and top it off on fuel. Why not? We're already here. We had to take the wrench out. They end up restarting 32nd. They get up to 26th, but then they fall back to 30th. 60 laps to go. Steven Duran gets on the radio, says they're about 15 laps away from pitting. Asked how the balance is, and SVG says, hey, the balance is good enough. And he emphasized it, and he said it like twice. At this point, they're 28th. 54 laps to go. SVG gets on the radio and says, hey, I got a vibration. I'm a little concerned about this. They're outside of that pit window, and Steven Duran's like, man, I need you to kind of keep going just a little bit longer, unless it's like, really bad. Then in that case, you got to pit. But then in the middle of that conversation, a caution comes out anyway, so they end up getting saved there. It's a really good timing for it. In terms of how the car felt, SVG said in the clean air, he was good. He felt really good about how the car handled and whatnot, but when he got in the dirty air, loose, tight, loose, a little bit of everything. And by the way, they were 27th at that point. They pit. They end up restarting in 25th. 49 to go is when this restart happens. He has a great restart. Gets up to 13th. Is having some great battles up there. As I said, made his way up through the field. He starts fading a little bit, like 16th, 17th, 18th, but then he's just kind of there in 17th and 18th. And then Brad Keselowski goes to push him down the back straight, hits him at a weird angle, and SVG about loses it. Saves it, thankfully. No one crashes out of all of this, but SVG loses another couple of spots after that. With 37 to go, he's in 23rd. This is when my TV crashes, and I didn't see how he got to 18th. But he gets on the radio, says, a good restart, just kept getting put in bad spots. Yeah, as I said, that's how the restarts sometimes go at Michigan. They were good to go on fuel. Other guys were questionable on fuel. They ended up passing one or two cars, I want to say, but then William Byron runs out of fuel. Carson Hocevar cuts a tire. Austin Cindric cuts a tire. They end up making a few spots on their own, and they end up finishing 18th. So, as I said, survival, the restarts, learning on the restarts, how chaotic they can be. Just running better at these ovals is their goal right now. An 18th place finish. If you told them that back in March when they were wrecking at Vegas, wrecking at Bristol, finishing poorly at Homestead, I think they would take this 18th. So things are starting to improve on the oval side of things, but next week are right turns. Mexico City, the F1 track. NASCAR will be running there. It's our first road course since the Circuit of the Americas back in March. I will be doing a full-blown Mexico preview later this week. I'm aiming for Thursday, if not Thursday, Friday. So look forward to that, I guess. We'll be making some picks and whatnot. And oh, my God. Wow. But as for right now, that's all I got for tonight. Got to get back to this live stream here. So, yeah, have a great rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, dang it. Oh, well, too late. Thank you guys for being patient. We're back. Live stream. We're back. Hello. Hi. How's everyone doing? Oh, yeah. Someone asked me about the whole SVG Scott McLaughlin thing that they're doing with the Legends cars. It's happening tonight, I guess, but it might rain. So, there you go. Don't really know what else to do with that. Just thought I'd mention it. We talked about that. What else do we need to talk about before we move on to Mexico? Mexico, we can go to Mexico now. Ooh, Jamie with an elite question here. Will Chastain bring a family farm watermelon from Florida in case he wins, or will he have to buy one from Mexico? Because remember, customs, there's certain things that you can't bring from one country to another, and I think that like fresh produce, like fruit and whatever, I think that's one of the things you can't bring. So I think he's going to have to buy one there. Or maybe his family sells some watermelons in Mexico and they can just go pick one up. But that's a really good question. In fact, I'm going to screenshot that. I'm going to tweet that because it's a fantastic question. I'll tweet that after this, but I just need to make sure I got the screenshot. That's a fantastic question, Jamie. Suarez, I'm assuming he'll have a taco piñata if he wins. I'm assuming they're in Mexico. I think they can get a piñata. I hope that's not offensive, me saying that. If it is, I'm sorry. But anywho. All right, people. Zero Apex is being held at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Marty, I see all the comments about the crew chief. It's a young crew chief. It's a team that was built 6 months ago, and it's essentially a young driver. A driver who's got less than 30 NASCAR Cup Series starts. Like, they need some time to get to know each other. They need some time to develop. This isn't going to be like a overnight they figure it out. They're running the top 5 every week. Like, it's a very unique circumstance. It's a brand new Trackhouse team and car. It's a crew chief who only has 1.5 years of crew chiefing experience. And it's a driver who only has 1.5 years of oval experience in a stock car. So, like, all those things combined, patience. Patience is what I would recommend for you. But we will see. We will see. I could be wrong. Maybe Steven Duran has a shorter leash than I know about. So, but I would just say patience. Who wants to talk about Mexico? The haulers. Have you guys heard about the logistics for the haulers? Oh my goodness. I'm glad I got the Sergio Perez hat. It's a good hat to wear during the Mexico race week. Have you guys heard about the process? The Cup race had to happen yesterday. It's quite the process. So basically, first things first. NASCAR, knowing how much of a logistical, I'm trying to think of the right word, a logistical, not hassle, because hassle sounds so bad, a logistical thing, a big logistical hurdle, that's the right word, a big logistical hurdle it would be to get the haulers to Laredo, to get them inspected, to get them through customs in a timely manner, and knowing how far south Mexico City is compared to the United States, my question is, why would they schedule Michigan before this? Why would they not do COTA? Well, okay, I will say COTA in Texas this time of year, it's a bit hot. So maybe that would work. But why Michigan? Why not Nashville? Nashville's much closer. Because they got to come through Dallas, which is where I live. We are 17 hours away from Michigan International Speedway. We're only 10 hours away from Nashville. So that saves you 7 hours there. Kansas, maybe. Kansas is only 7 hours from here. Like, I just feel like there was a better race to put before Mexico. But that's just me. And once again, there's a lot of other things that go into the NASCAR scheduling. So I'm probably just blowing nonsense out as always. But anyways, the process is they had to finish up the race Sunday. If they didn't finish up the race Sunday, it would have been a disaster. Because the teams, they brought 2 haulers to Michigan. They had their primary Michigan, their backup Michigan cars, all the equipment they needed for Michigan. But then in the backup hauler, they had the primary car and the backup car for Mexico and all the tools and whatever they needed. And then Sunday morning, before the race, before the garage even opened, you took out the Michigan backup, you took out all the Michigan equipment that you wouldn't need for Mexico, and they put all the Mexico equipment and Mexico primary and backups into the primary hauler. Then, as soon as the Michigan race is over, whatever time that race ended, let's call it 5:30 p.m., they quickly scramble, They get all the equipment that they used at Michigan that they need for Mexico. They put that on the hauler. I think they got it inspected by customs, and they got out of there. They had to do this yesterday. They couldn't do it today. They couldn't do it tomorrow. They couldn't do it. They couldn't start this process at 2 a.m. on Sunday. Had to be last night. It would have been a logistical nightmare if this race, Michigan, had gotten postponed in any way, shape, or form. Well, everything went according to plan. 24-hour drive to Laredo, Texas, which, by the way, Laredo, Texas is the border of Texas, the United States, and Mexico. That's where the Rio Grande is. They still have another 10 hours to go after that. But essentially, they drive to Laredo. They're probably there by now, I want to say. The Cup Series, at least. The Xfinity Series, they were off this week, so they had time to mess around with this. Cup Series didn't, so they're probably there by now, I want to say. It's been more than 24 hours. If not, they're really close. But they have to go to Laredo. They're going to sit there overnight. I'm sure they're going to have to get inspected once again. It's going from one country to another. It's a very delicate process. Certain things you can't bring from one side of the border to the other and vice versa. So they're going to have to get inspected. They're going to have to go through this process. And then I think tomorrow they'll go to Mexico City. And I think it's like a 10-hour drive from Laredo to Mexico City. In fact, let's see where it is from me. Laredo, Texas, from me is 7 hours and 13 minutes. Okay. Laredo to Mexico City it's loading. Give it a second. 13 hours and 46 minutes. So on top of the 24-hour drive, you have essentially another 14, 15 hours on the road. Like, it is a long drive to Mexico City. So, point being, they got it done. Here are the Xfinity haulers at the border of the United States of America and Mexico getting ready to party. Siesta. Wait, no, siesta? Is that nap or... Fiesta. Fiesta is party. My bad. Hello, Monty. But now that we have explained how the cars and the teams are getting to Mexico, it is time for... Oh, dang it. I forgot to pull this up again. Oh, come on. I'm so stupid. It is time for Selección del Lunes. That means Monday picks in Spanish because Mexico speaks Spanish. Yes, Selección del Lunes por Los Xfinity Series. Okay, that's all the Spanish I'm trying for right now. So, significant entries for the Xfinity Series. We got some normal people. Chris Wright will be there. Alex LeBay is going to be in the 07. That is a road course ringer right there for SS Greenlight Racing. Daniel Suarez. Boy, do I love a good sentimental pick. He will be doing the doubleheader. He will be in the Xfinity Series car, the JRM number 9. Originally slated to be SVG, but they ended up switching over to Daniel Suarez, which, gotta say, it's really cool. Daniel Suarez, the first ever points race in Mexico. He is going to be driving an Xfinity car. Well, not for the Xfinity Series, but for the Cup Series. He's going to be doing a doubleheader. This is a really cool story. Mexican driver racing in Mexico in a really good Xfinity car. He's a great road racer in the Cup Series. Really looking forward to seeing how he does. Other significant entries, Ty Gibbs will be in the 19. Christopher Bell will be in the number 24. I will be in the 35 car. 125 years old, by the way. Other significant entries, Brad Perez will be in the 28 or the 45. He's 28 years old. Sorry. Andres Perez will be in the 20 or the 91. God, how have I done that twice already? So those are your significant entries. Everyone, give me your Xfinity Series pick. Sorry. your Selección del Lunes por las Xfinity Series. Let's hear it. Make some Selección del Lunes for the Xfinity Series. Christopher Bell is in between the lanes pick for Los Xfinity Series. Jesse Love is Marty's pick. All right, Jesse Love. Christopher Bell, Jesse Love, all right. I feel like the Xfinity Series, we're going to get a wide range of picks here. If you make your pick, or if you make your Selección del Lunes. Suarez is Zero Apex's pick, going with the home driver, going with the Mexican for the Mexican race. So we got a Suarez, we got a Jesse Love, we got a Christopher Bell. Anthony Denny is going with Connor Zilisch. Connor Zilisch, of course, has won the only road course race in the Xfinity Series this year at the Circuit of the Americas. John Ray's going to Cup and is picking Chase Elliott. All right. Any other Xfinity picks? All right, Mike Wallace is going with Connor Zilisch. So we got a couple of Ziliches. We got a Suarez. We got a Jesse Love, Christopher Bell. All right, I'm going to go through one last scroll of the Xfinity entry list, and then I want to hear your picks. This is going to be your last. Well, I guess you could theoretically do it later, but here we go. Everyone make your picks. Xfinity Series. Jamie's going with Zilisch. Selección del Lunes for the Xfinity Series. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We got some Ziliches. We got 3 Ziliches. We got a Suarez. We got a Bell, Jesse Love. I love a good sentimental story, a fun story, something that everyone will be happy about. I'm going to go with Daniel Suarez. David's going to go with Suarez. Monty's going to go with Zilisch. I'm going to go with Suarez. I'm just going to go with Suarez. I just think that's such a fun story. I'm going to go with Suarez. Zero Apex is changing to Allgaier, though. Jumping off the Suarez bandwagon. It's probably because I picked him and I suck at picking. Though I will say, got to brag on myself. You know who picked Denny Hamlin last week? That's right. Still not as good as that Harrison Burton pick, though, last year. I'm never going to let you guys forget that. Let's move on to the Cup Series. So I got Suarez and Xfinity, Jamie. Cup Series. It's a pretty normal field, honestly. The only significant entry, I believe, is Catherine Legg in the 78. I'm curious to see how she's going to perform because she's known for driving on the road courses. But at the same time, it's the 78 car. All due respect, that is not the fastest car. But I am curious to see how she does. And I think she's raced at this track before. But on to the Cup Series. Everyone get a good look at the entry list. Look at the sponsors. We got Valvoline's on both the 5 and the 24 this week, I think. Lumar's on the 9, Lucas Oil on the 8. And remember, I think the altitude there is really high. It's going to be a factor, not just physically on the drivers, but on the cars. Christopher Bell's in the Mobil 1 car. Not a lot of normal primaries. We got some different ones. Chumba Casino on the 23. That is the weirdest paint scheme. Long John Silver's on the 34. 45's got Xfinity Mobile on there. As I said earlier, Safety Culture on the 88. Telcel, a Mexican sponsor for Daniel Suarez. Really big week for him. All right, Monday picks for Cup. Let's hear them. Kyle Busch is in between the lanes pick. Remember how good Kyle Busch ran at COTA? That's not a crazy pick. He's 25-1 in the odds right now. It's kind of crazy. Vegas probably knows something, though. So Marty's going with SVG. David's going with Zilich in the Xfinity Series. Zero Apex is going with SVG. So we got Kyle Busch, we got SVG, two guys who kind of contended for the win at COTA. Need to see the bow again. And it's been a while. It's been over 2 years now. 2023 Gateway, which was about this time 2 years ago. All right, people, let's hear it. Come on. Selección del Lunes for Mexico. Joey Logano for Jamie. Hey, Jamie, I know Joey's not the greatest road racer, but that is not a crazy pick. Just considering that Joey Logano wins the first race everywhere. LA Coliseum, Gateway, Bristol Dirt. He always finds a way to win the first race at a track. So, in terms of it being a road race, I would call you crazy, but because it's the first race somewhere, it's not that crazy. But Jamie's going with Logano. Monty's going with SVG. We got a lot of SVG picks. Horsefly 1020. I'm assuming that's supposed to be a V in the middle there. But a lot of SVG picks. Mike Wallace is going with SVG. It's a road course, so I expected this. Brock's going with SVG. It's a popular pick. Kyle Busch is up there, though. Sean's going with SVG. It was a popular pick at COTA. It didn't work out there, so you never know. You never know. But he is heavily favored in the odds. He is 3-1 to win this race, according to Vegas. Once again, Vegas probably knows something. Okay. All right, I'm going to go one last scroll. David's going to go with Chase Elliott. Okay. All right. So we got an Elliott, Kyle Busch, tons of SVGs. All right. One last scroll through. I know my pick. I've had the pick made for this race for a long time. Probably since this race was announced, honestly. I've had my pick. No one's going to pick Cody Ware? No one? I remember after that Vegas race when I said that like no one crazy was going to win, and then it was like a Barry, Suarez, Priest 1, 2, 3. You guys spam my comments the next week with like Cody Ware is going to win at Phoenix or whatever. No one picks Cody Ware anymore. Oh well. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Sean P., it is a Trackhouse driver. Yes, it is. As I said earlier, I am a sucker for a good old sentimental pick. Good old-fashioned. Is the stream glitching out? Is it working? Oh my goodness. It says it's working over there. So maybe this is broken over here. Anywho. All right. I'm a sucker for a sentimental pick. I picked Daniel Suarez in Xfinity. Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be heavily favored in this race. In fact, Vegas has him heavily favored. A lot of you guys have picked Shane Van Gisbergen. We have seen what has happened in the past with a Mexican driver in his home race under pressure with a contract at hand. What has happened at turn 1 with Sergio Perez when he started flying in the air, trying to make that move that Max Verstappen made in 2021. Went horribly wrong. The pressure at the home race seemed to be too much. Not this time. I'm going with the sentimental pick again. I'm going with Daniel Suarez for the weekend sweep, baby. I think I'm just picking it because I want it to happen, because that would be such a cool story. But it's just too fun of a story not to pick. In fact, I just realized this. I think I have some pesos on my desk here. Are these pesos? I've had this on my desk for years now. Let's see here. What does it say on here? Estados Unidos Mexicanos. Yeah, we got some pesos on the desk. I'm picking Daniel Suarez to sweep the weekend. Like, Two whole pesos. Heck yeah. How do you say heck yeah in Spanish? Ooh, I'm gonna see if he'll. I'm gonna see how quickly he'll respond. All right. Let's see if that works. Give me a second. If not, I'll pull up Google Translate. I remember I had some Spanish professors in college that said that Google Translate was sometimes wrong and that we shouldn't use it. So, anyways. Diablo C? Is that really how you say heck yeah? Oh, it's okay, that's hell yeah, but close enough. All right. I'm really excited for this race, guys. I love new tracks. I love when NASCAR does something different. The LA Coliseum, the Chicago Street Race, Mexico now. Like anytime NASCAR does something fun like this, I get so excited. Going back to North Wilkesboro, going back to Bowman Gray, like such cool things that they are doing to appeal to all different sides of the fan base. Like NASCAR's been killing it, if you ask me recently in terms of that. I just think it's such a cool story. Daniel Suarez, Mexican driver, has been in NASCAR for so long, won an Xfinity Series championship, has won a couple of cup races now, getting to have a true home race for him in Mexico. I just think it's such a cool story, man. Yeah, I'm picking it because of the story. Picking Daniel Suarez. Got some pesos right here. Oh my goodness. Like, come on, Daniel Suarez. Give me back-to-back Monday picks. I'm picking Suarez to win Xfinity. I'm picking Suarez to win Cup. All in on Daniel Suarez this weekend. Hopefully he can back me up. That'd be nice to get some more Monday picks right. It's been a rough year for me. So thank you guys for watching this live stream. Marty, Brock, Monty, Jamie, Sean, Horsefly1020, David, as always, Zero Apex, Mike Wallace, scrolling up here, in between the lanes, everyone, John, Anthony, like everyone who's shown up tonight, everyone who shows up for these live streams that we do every Monday. Once again, next Monday will more than likely be a different background. Everything else will look the same. The screen will look the same. I think I'll look the same. I don't know. But anywho, that is all for me. Jamie, I really hope they have. I would assume they're in Mexico. They played O Canada at Michigan, so they're going to have the Mexican national anthem. I don't know if they'll do both, but let me tell you, the Mexican national anthem, that's a top 10 national anthem. I have it at 6th on my list, but really good national anthem. I can't wait. Another Monday pick. People on the internet will complain when the Mexican national anthem is played in Mexico, which would be stupid. Let me emphasize that. But it will happen because people on the internet find the wildest reasons. But point being, Mexico has a really cool national anthem. I'm picking Daniel Suarez to sweep the weekend. We got some pesos here. Yeah. I'll be doing a Mexico preview this week. We'll have some fun, and it's going to be a long weekend. So, yeah.